Please subscribe Car News. The 2020 Honda CR-V Hybrid resembles a decent night out on the town that doesn't go over the edge, monetarily. Suppose you need to treat yourself, however you're not going all out with an excursion to one of those stodgy, three-figure per plate steakhouses. Perhaps you need to go through only a smidge more cash than expected and get down with some receptive, semi-upscale food, similar to a Cooper's Hawk or a Wildfire, since you merit something pleasant from time to time. That is what Honda's new electric SUV feels like, a wonderful supper out that doesn't burn up all available resources for the white-collar class. While the whole Honda CR-V line got a visual invigorate for the 2020 model year, the new during the current year hybrid exchanges paper napkins for fabric with a couple of one-of-a-kind bits that cause it to feel somewhat more upscale than some other variation. The new grille coordinates pleasantly with my analyzer's LED headlights and the changed lower belt that includes some gaudy haze lights, masterminded in a bar shape on the hybrid versus the standard CR-V's round forks. There's likewise some unique badging, in light of the fact that who doesn't adore applauding themselves, just as a tailpipe that is tucked higher up into the body. Slide through one of the CR-V's entryways, however, and that is the place the better quality thankfulness truly kicks in. Honda has worked superbly changing the hybrid's lodge for 2020. On the feel front, I'm especially dazzled with the matte finish artificial wood trim dissipated around, a completion generally saved for increasingly costly vehicles, with real wood. The dashboard, while to a great extent plastic, contains some appealing artificial sewing, and there are a lot of intriguing edges that cause the CR-V to feel somewhat less mass showcase than it is. Hell, even the skimming infotainment screen looks truly extraordinary here. The fit and finish feels a stage above CR versus past and contenders current. Yet, work matters more than structure with regards to a family vehicle. Fortunately, there's a lot of it here. An overhauled Focus Comfort consolidates a noteworthy measure of garbage tucking room, and I like the sorta outdoors seclusion of the sliding plate that spread the under armrest cubby. The cup holders are voluminous, both on the entryway boards and in the inside reassure, and touring models like my analyzer get an iPhone Gaudy remote telephone charger tucked under the press button transmission controls. The subsequent line has conventional capacity, too, yet the genuine advantage to being back there is legroom, since Honda offers a few inches or greater amount of it than the opposition can give. I'm 6 feet tall, and I unquestionably wasn't needing for space, which means children ought to have much more space to faff about. While the extra equipment required for the CR-V hybrid doesn't eat into lodge space, it takes a smidge of load limit. At 33.2 cubic feet, the half-and-half hybrid's extra room is around 4 cubic feet littler than the Toyota RAV4 hybrids, and it's around 6 3D shapes behind the standard old CR-V. The Honda is, nonetheless, in front of the Ford Escape hybrid, which has quite recently 30.7 cubic feet of stuff stockpiling. In case you're searching for an extra tire, you won't discover it, since Honda dumped it for the mixture equipment, an issue the Toyota RAV4 hybrid doesn't appear to have, since it despite everything rocks a reinforcement. The core of the CR-V hybrid is covered up onto the body. It depends on a similar two-engine half-and-half framework that is in the Honda Accord, a 2.0-liter, Atkinson Cycle i4 gas motor mates to a 1.4 kWh lithium particle battery and a couple of electric engines to deliver 212 strength and 232 pound-feet of torque, making the hybrid variation the most remarkable CR-V in the carport. All-wheel drive is standard, and force courses to each of the four corners by method of something Honda calls an "icate," in spite of the fact that it's not so much a legitimate pulley-based constantly factor transmission, as it utilizes a hole to allow direct motor to drivetrain impetus under light loads as it were. This implies more often than not the CR-V hybrid is working. The electric engines give the impetus while the motor sits out of sight, concentrating on keeping the little battery finished off. This Honda offers an adjust mode, yet like most customary gas-electric half-breeds, it's just usable for a mile or two at once. This electric forward center method's each start is smooth and weighed down with torque, and that quickness keeps on figuring in at higher paces, making for simple entrance ramp hustle or moderate driver passing. At the point when it comes time to juice up, the motor will kick on out of sight. The way that the motor fires up don't connect to street speed can be a bit of confounding from the start. Yet it's anything but difficult to become acclimated to, regardless of whether the motor rises to a mellow uproar on occasion when all the more charging is fundamental. Nature of the monster, I assume. Different powertrain modes are on offer, including the previously mentioned EV mode, yet they're not valuable. Econ packs down client contributions to the name of boosting effectiveness, and keeping in mind that it works, it leaves the CR-V hybrid inclination somewhat pokey. There's a sport mode, which improves choke reaction and utilizations of sound synthesizer to support its aural profile. However, this tech just feels like a trick to me. That is not the purpose of this SUV at all, and we as a whole know it. There is, in any case, dynamic sound scratch-off, which feels unquestionably progressively suitable in this utilization case. The rest of the edges of the CR-V hybrid's driving experience come back to the feasting out representation, furnishing an upscale involvement in a tasteful sticker price. My touring trim analyzer shakes the biggest wheels on offer at 19 inches. They're enclosed by appropriately substantial 235/55 Continental Cross-Contact LX Sport all-season tires, which work admirably of absorbing frightful street bits that the steel springs can't. The guiding is pleasantly weighted, and it turns the wheels, pretty much all the applause required on a mass-advertised hybrid. The brakes are all around tuned, mixing grinding and recovery into smooth deceleration. In the event that you love utilizing energy to finish off the battery, the wheel-mounted move paddles let you increment or decline the regenerative slowing down to suit. The EPA evaluates the 2020 CR-V hybrid at 40 miles for every gallon city and 35 miles per gallon parkway, extraordinary numbers for an all-wheel drive hybrid that, in my experience, are anything but difficult to accomplish without the lightest foot on the square. In setting, however, this current Honda's feast stays acceptable, only not tantamount to what's accessible over the range of eateries. The Toyota RAV4 Hybrid, by examination, is progressively productive at 41 miles per gallon city and 38 miles per gallon interstate, while the Ford Escape Hybrid rings in at 43 parkway and 37 city. One piece of the Honda CR-V hybrid's innovative supplement that will surely acquire honors with families is Honda Sensing, the automaker's setup of dynamic and uninvolved security frameworks. This assortment is standard on each CR-V, including programmed crisis slowing down with person-on-foot identification, path takeoff cautioning, path keep help and versatile voyage control. The frameworks work extraordinary, with ACC conveying smooth data sources while LKA doesn't wrestle for control of the wheel to keep the vehicle focused in its path. Honda's lane watch camera has at long last fallen by the wayside for appropriate vulnerable side observing, which is an invite substitution that is way less diverting by and by. As the top trim on offer, my touring analyzer comes embellished with each tech redesign accessible. The remote gadget charger is situated well and keeps the telephone from unintentionally sliding around and losing its inductive association. Peculiarly, however, the two USB-A ports in the front offer an irrelevant 1 and 1.5 amps, the previous of which isn't sufficiently even to keep up a net positive charge if a telephone is running processor-escalated applications like Waze or Google Maps through Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. The last combinations are standard on everything except the base trim. The back seats, in any case, rock a couple of snappier charging 2.5 amp USB-A ports, which ought to be the standard all around. This CR-V additionally packs a 7-inch touchscreen infotainment framework. It's not the best-in-class rendition of Honda's display audio equipment, so the illustrations appear as though they're about 10 years old, if not more, particularly notwithstanding flashier get-ups from Ford or Toyota. Responsiveness is appropriately brisk, and the volume handle's arrival is certainly welcome, yet ample opportunity has already passed. Honda refreshes its telematics here. The reinforcement camera's goals could remain to be somewhat higher, as well. One screen that doesn't disillusion, however, is the one that replaces the measure group. Notwithstanding wearing a special force meter that tells me whether the CR-V hybrid is delivering intention power or recovering vitality, the bunch shows all manner of appropriate data, from the mixture framework's activities to anything that's on the radio, up front to limit interruption. At $37,070, counting $1,120 for gold, the 2020 Honda CR-V hybrid's most noteworthy trim is in reality not as much as the present normal new vehicle exchange value, which means you're getting snared with a considerably rich involvement with the mass advertised cost. In this way, the Touring is the CR-V hybrid model I'd pick, since it's stacked with incredible highlights like Qi charging, stopping sensors, a without hands back end and downpour detecting wipers. Spending plan disapproved of people will even now discover bounty to like on different trims, however. Unadulterated worth searchers can snatch a base CR-V hybrid for only $28,870, with the X and XL finding some middle ground between the limits. Honda's two greatest rivals in this space are basically stuffed in their own privileges. The Toyota RAV4 has blockier looks, more productivity and an increasingly current infotainment framework, however it feels somewhat less upscale than the Honda. The Ford Escape is basically the equivalent, offering a greater number of miles per gallon than the Honda, however its freight space is littler and its inside arrangements don't feel too blasted together as Japanese contenders. The 2020 Honda CR-V Hybrid is an incredible method to treat yours